Dooley and Mack Constructors is vitally interested in safety on the job. While other companies may give lip service to these concerns, Dooley and Mack demonstrates their safety commitment with hard dollar investments. For example, Dooley and Mack employs a full-time safety coordinator who trains workers and visits job sites on a regular basis. The company also creates training aids, such as this safety video. While the company is truly interested in the safety of workers employed at its job sites, it is a known fact that a safe job site is a more productive job site. The company has earned an enviable reputation in the construction industry because of its concerns for excellence and its attention to client needs, such as cost controls, adherence to scheduling deadlines, and quality construction.
I thought I'd call a quick toolbox safety meeting.
However, Dooley and Mack will not compromise safety for profit, and it expects all workers on its job sites to receive safety training. Your understanding of safety issues is vital. The training you receive and your use of the practices and procedures learned will help to protect you and your fellow workers on the job site. This training will continue throughout the job and will address changing safety issues as the job progresses and different situations arise. Let's begin with OSHA rules and regulations. As employers and employees, we are all required by law to follow and adhere to all federal OSHA regulations. A violation of those rules could cost your employer and Dooley and Mack thousands of dollars, and more importantly, it could cause you serious injury or even the loss of your life. Every person on any Dooley and Mack project is expected to comply with all OSHA rules and regulations. Just remember this: every safety rule is written in blood. A lot of injuries and deaths had to occur in the past before it was decided to create a safety rule about that subject. When your employer signed a contract with Dooley and Mack, an important part of that agreement was to adhere to all OSHA and Dooley and Mack safety rules. Your job performance in these areas will be monitored, and repeated violations of safety rules will result in your removal from the Dooley and Mack job site. One way to avoid safety problems on the job is to plan ahead. Every week, the Dooley and Mack job superintendent conducts a scheduling meeting to plan for the work in the immediate future. Potential future hazards are discussed, and methods of performing the job safely are agreed upon. Will there be any elevated work? How about excavations? When will the permanent power be turned on? And so forth. If any of you see a potentially hazardous situation on the horizon, remind your supervisor so that he can bring it up at the meeting. Now let's look at some of the more common do's and don'ts. Employees on Dooley and Mack jobs are expected to display a professional appearance while on the job site. This means wearing a hard hat in good condition, a shirt with at least 4-inch sleeves, long trousers, and sturdy work shoes or boots. There are times when you will be required to wear eye protection, ear protection, or a respirator, such as when you are cutting or grinding metal or concrete. When you are chipping concrete, or when you are using a powder-actuated tool, such as a Hilti or Ramset.
Fire in the hole!
Compressed gas cylinders must always be secured in an upright position with caps in place when stored. Workers in the immediate area must be protected from eye damage when arc welding is performed. This can be accomplished by shielding the arc at its source. Falls account for a large number of accidents on construction jobs. These falls usually occur as a result of unsafe acts by workers or unsafe conditions in elevated areas. In operations such as setting trusses, sheeting roofs, shingling roofs, and pumping foundation walls, the rules are varied, and your supervisor will advise you of the proper fall protection. You may be required to wear a safety harness with a lifeline. Work with a safety monitor, or be protected by some other means, such as guardrails, slide stops, or catch platforms. When working from a scaffold, there are several rules that apply. If the deck of the scaffold is more than 10 feet above a lower surface, you must be protected by a guardrail or a safety harness with a lifeline. Every scaffold must be fully decked and fully braced. If the scaffold has wheels, they must all be locked before anyone is allowed to use it. A ladder must be used to climb up and down a scaffold. It may be portable or built in. You may not climb the X-braces of scaffolds. Another cause of falls is the improper use of ladders. A straight or extension ladder must be secured against movement before it is used. This may be accomplished by tying it off or having someone hold it when there is no way to tie it off. If the ladder is to be used to gain access to another level, be sure that the top extends at least 3 feet above the landing surface. Remember, a straight or extension ladder must be placed at the proper angle. This is accomplished by placing the bottom of the ladder approximately 1/4 of its total length away from the structure that it's leaning against. Never use a stepladder for a straight ladder by leaning it folded against an object and climbing it. Never stand on the top step or top platform of a stepladder. Never ascend, descend, or work from a ladder backwards. Always face the ladder. Always be sure that your ladder is in good repair. If it is defective, see that it's removed from the job site immediately. Housekeeping is extremely important on any construction job. When we say you must clean up as you go, we don't mean that each time you generate a piece of scrap that you must dispose of it immediately. But you should pile your scrap in one spot out of your immediate work area and out of any walkway or passageway. Remember to keep aisles and doorways free of scrap and debris. Be sure to remove trash and scrap at the end of the day. Usually a clean job is a sign of a safe job. Repair damaged extension cords or defective cords on electric drills or saws or other electrical equipment. Be sure that all guards are in place and work properly, especially on saws. Materials stored on the job site must be stacked neatly and must not block walkways. Large pieces of equipment, such as low rough terrain forklifts, prime movers, and earth-moving equipment, must be operated only by qualified, competent operators. When cranes are on the job, employees must be alert to avoid loads overhead. Use taglines, and crane operators must sound the horn when swinging a load above occupied areas. As an employee, you have the right to know any potential effects to your health presented by chemicals or materials used on the job. If you have any questions, the law requires your employer to have material safety data sheets available for you to read. These are commonly referred to as MSDSs. There are many hazards on any construction job site, and to avoid them, you must always be alert. Never enter an excavation which is more than 5 feet deep unless it is sloped or shored to prevent cave-ins. Know the location of the job site fire extinguishers. Their prompt use might save the building and, more importantly, lives. Only work on jobs you have been trained for. Working on heavy machinery without training would be dangerous. Likewise, working with electricity without proper knowledge of electrical hazards and safety procedures would be foolish. What you have seen on this short tape covers some of the most often observed safety hazards on our construction jobs. If a more complicated potential hazard arises, your supervisor will advise you of what safety precautions are necessary. You must be constantly alert where safety is concerned. At times, rare and complicated situations may arise that require caution. Do not hesitate to ask of your supervisor. We appreciate the attention you have given during the showing of this tape and sincerely hope that it will assist you in performing your work safely during your time with Dooley & Mack and on future construction jobs that you may perform. The main thing to remember is that safety pays for everyone.